Captain Elias Kane stepped off the small human shuttle and onto the glowing landing platform of the Varelian capital. The air was thick, with a strange metallic scent, and the sky shimmered in hues of green and violet, colors humans had never seen before. Tall, elegant spires rose like sharp teeth from the city, reflecting the light of twin suns. This was no ordinary mission. Elias had been sent as both an explorer and a diplomat, representing humanity to an alien empire that had little patience for outsiders. He adjusted his jacket and walked toward the massive palace doors. His heart beat fast, not from fear, but from curiosity. Humans had always heard stories of the Varelians, proud, disciplined, and utterly unyielding. Most civilizations avoided them. Yet here he was, walking into the heart of their empire. As he entered, the grand hall stretched endlessly. Before him, Varelian courtiers, tall and graceful with blue-gray skin and eyes like molten silver, watched silently. Their expressions were unreadable. Elias felt the weight of 1,000 gazes on him, yet he held his posture firm. Humans were known for resilience, and Elias carried that confidence naturally. At the far end of the hall, a raised dais held the throne of Queen Valera. She was unlike any alien Elias had ever seen. Her presence was commanding, yet calm. Her eyes, sharp, silver, and intelligent, locked onto him immediately. For a moment, the hall seemed to hold its breath. Then she spoke, her voice smooth but full of authority. "Captain Elias Kane, human of Earth, you have traveled far to reach us. Speak your purpose." Elias bowed respectfully, choosing his words carefully. "Your Majesty, I come as a representative of humanity. I bring greetings and hope for mutual understanding between our species." There was a pause. Valera's eyes narrowed slightly, as if she were studying him carefully. "You are the human who once saved a Varelian life, yes?" she asked. The entire hall stirred. Some courtiers whispered among themselves. Humans rarely left an impression on the Varelians, and this knowledge alone caused murmurs of surprise. Elias blinked. He had not expected the queen to remember. I believe I helped a scout many years ago," he said cautiously. "It was a dangerous situation, and I acted as any human would." Valera's gaze softened ever so slightly. "It was more than that. You saved one of my own. That act of courage changed the life of one who would later serve at my side." Elias's mind raced. He remembered the mission vividly. On a remote, icy planet, he and his crew had encountered a Varelian scout trapped beneath a collapsed structure. Against orders, he risked his own life to pull the alien free. That scout had been terrified and alone, yet Elias had insisted no life was worthless. He had not expected it to matter years later, or that it would be remembered by the Varelian queen herself. I did what anyone would do," Elias said quietly, unsure how to respond to such recognition. Valera studied him. "Perhaps, but your species has qualities we rarely see. Courage, compassion, ingenuity. These qualities were noted, and today they may shape the fate of both our peoples." The hall was silent. Elias could feel the tension. The Varelian council, seated along the sides, exchanged wary glances. Some were clearly displeased that their queen was showing interest in a human. Humans were unpredictable and unfamiliar. To trust one was unheard of. One counselor, a tall male named Drelith, spoke sharply. "Your Majesty, why honor a human? Their kind are untested. Our empire thrives by discipline, not sentiment." Valera's eyes snapped toward him, icy and unyielding. "I am aware of my counselor's concerns, yet the actions of one human have already proven impactful. Captain Kane is not here as a soldier, nor as a conqueror. He is here as a representative of potential. That potential must be observed." Drelith's mouth tightened, but he remained silent. The hall seemed to relax slightly, though tension lingered like a storm cloud. Valera gestured toward Elias. "You will stay within the palace for observation. I wish to speak further." privately of events long past and decisions for the future. Elias nodded, understanding the significance. A private audience with the Queen herself was rare, almost unheard of for a foreigner. He had survived dangerous battlefields, diplomatic negotiations, and alien ambushes, yet nothing prepared him for the weight of this moment. As he followed the attendants through twisting corridors of polished crystal and metal, Elias thought back to the Varelian scout. Young, proud, and stubborn, she had refused help at first, but when he persisted, she had survived. That small act, which seemed insignificant at the time, had set in motion events Elias could never have imagined. Finally, they reached a chamber, bathed in soft, violet light. The walls shimmered with alien symbols that seemed to pulse gently. Valera stood at the center, regal and commanding. "Captain Kane," she said, her voice softer now. "I want to know more about your world, your people, and what drives humans to act with such unexpected valor." Elias smiled faintly. "I suppose it is simple. Humans survive because we care for one another. We act not just for ourselves, but for those who cannot act for themselves. Sometimes that courage is seen as foolish, but other times it is remembered." Valera's expression was unreadable for a moment. Then she nodded slowly, as if coming to a decision. "You will remain under my observation, and in time, Captain. Kane, your actions may show the Varelian people that humans are more than strangers. You may show them that humans are allies worth trusting." Elias felt a mixture of relief and anticipation. The path ahead was uncertain, full of danger and political intrigue. Yet for the first time in the heart of an alien empire, he felt a spark of connection. One small act of courage had not been forgotten. As he prepared to face the unknown challenges that awaited, Elias knew one thing clearly. Humans had a way of leaving their mark, even in worlds far beyond their own. And the Queen's recognition was only the beginning. Captain Elias Kane followed the attendants through the labyrinth of shimmering corridors. The palace was quiet now, far from the crowded hall where whispers and stares had followed him. The walls glimmered with strange symbols and soft violet light pulsed along the floors. Every step he took felt heavier, as though he were walking into history itself. Finally, they reached a chamber larger than any human building he had ever seen. The ceiling stretched high, its surface reflecting twin suns that shone through the crystal walls. At the center stood Queen Valera, poised and regal. Her silver eyes watched him intently, like a predator observing prey, but with curiosity rather than hostility. "Captain Kane," she began, her voice calm but filled with authority. "I wished for this private audience to understand the human who saved a life that once mattered greatly to me. That act has long been remembered." Elias nodded, his mind flashing back to the icy planet where he had pulled a Varelian scout from the collapsing cave. At the time, he had done nothing more than what any human would do. Yet now, years later, that small act had left a lasting impression on the Queen of a proud alien empire. "It was a dangerous place," he said, choosing his words carefully. "I didn't know the consequences at the time. I only knew someone needed help and I couldn't turn away." Valera's expression softened. "And that is what makes your species remarkable. Humans act with courage, often without thought, for recognition or reward. It is rare in the galaxy. Many civilizations calculate every action for gain. You act differently." Elias felt a strange pride. Humans had always been underestimated, seen as weak, fragile, or foolish by other species. Yet here in the heart of the Varelian Empire, a ruler recognized human value not in weapons or power, but in bravery and heart. The Queen gestured for him to sit on a low platform opposite her. "Tell me of your world, your people, your values. I wish to understand why humans risk themselves for others." Elias took a deep breath. "Humans survive because we care for each other. Our bonds, our loyalty, and our courage define us. We fight not just for ourselves, but for those who cannot fight for themselves. Sometimes it seems foolish, but it is also our strength. Valera nodded slowly. And yet your kind is unknown to many in this sector. Some see humans as unpredictable. Others doubt your resolve. How do you face this fear? Elias smiled faintly. We face it because fear is never stronger than determination. We rely on our minds, our skills, and each other. Even when the odds are against us, we do not give up. That is what keeps humanity alive. Valera leaned back, her silver eyes narrowing as though analyzing every word. Your courage has already touched my empire in ways you may not realize. The scout you saved became my advisor. That life and your act of bravery influenced my decisions and shaped my counsel. One human action changed the course of Verelion. History. Elias shook his head, amazed. I never imagined that something so small could have such an impact. It was just survival, really. The Queen's gaze hardened. Perhaps to you it was small, but to us, every act of courage is significant. You have shown qualities my people rarely see. That is why I wish to observe you further, Captain Kane. Not as a prisoner, not as a guest, but as someone whose actions may determine our future relations. Before Elias could respond, a sharp voice interrupted from the doorway. Counselor Drelath, tall and imposing, stepped forward. Your Majesty, why grant such attention to a human? Their kind are untested. How can we turn to him cold and precise? Because one, Captain Elias Kane stood on the deck of his ship, the Starfire, watching the swirling colors of the Verelion space lanes fade behind him. Ahead lay the outer reaches, a region of uncharted asteroids, strange magnetic storms, and rumors of alien creatures that had never been catalogued. This mission was more than exploration. It was a test of humanity itself, assigned by the Queen to prove that humans were not reckless outsiders, but capable allies. His crew, a mix of humans and a few trusted Verelions assigned by Queen Valera, moved efficiently. Among them was Lieutenant Mara Chen, a human engineer, and Kyle, a Verelion scout who had once served the Queen directly. Kyle's silver eyes followed Elias with careful scrutiny. Humans were unpredictable, he thought, yet this one seemed different. Captain, Mara said, checking the ship's navigation systems, the asteroid field is ahead. Sensors are picking up high-density clusters. Gravity fluctuations are severe. This isn't going to be easy. Elias nodded. We expected that. Keep the shields at maximum and engines responsive. Remember, this isn't just about survival. It's about proving ourselves. As they approached, massive rocky formations spun slowly in the void, each one large enough to house an entire city. Between them, streaks of glowing energy crackled unpredictably. The ship jolted as it passed a magnetic anomaly. Crew members gripped consoles, but Elias remained steady. Humans had learned to adapt, he thought, and so would they. Kyle spoke softly, almost to himself. These fields are dangerous. Many Verelion scouts have failed. Elias replied calmly, Then we will succeed where others did not. Focus on the task, trust each other, and we'll make it through. Suddenly, sensors blared. A massive shadow moved across the asteroid belt, something alive and clearly not of any species catalogued in the Verelion archives. It was enormous, with jagged exoskeletons and bioluminescent eyes. Prepare for evasive maneuvers, Elias ordered. Keep calm. Study its movement. We adapt. We survive. The creature lunged at the ship, striking with immense claws. The shields absorbed the impact, but the ship shook violently. Crew members gritted their teeth. Mara worked frantically at the engines, while Kale fired precise energy bursts to ward off the creature. Humans adapt faster than most species, Kale exclaimed in surprise, as Elias coordinated movements and shield rerouting with lightning speed. After tense moments, the creature retreated into the shadows. Elias exhaled. Good. We learned its patterns. We move on. Focus on the artifact. That is our priority. Hours passed as they navigated the asteroid field. Elias relied on human ingenuity and teamwork to solve problems that even advanced Verelion technology struggled with. One asteroid emitted electromagnetic pulses that could disable engines. Mara devised a rapid shield algorithm that allowed the ship to pass unharmed. Another asteroid had hidden tunnels perfect for ambush, but Elias anticipated every move, guiding the team safely. Finally, they arrived at the artifact's location, a massive crystalline structure embedded in a hollow asteroid. Its surface pulsed with energy, casting prismatic light across the ship. The crew stared in awe. Kyle approached cautiously. This artifact is ancient. It holds immense power. The Queen's order is wise but dangerous. Elias replied calmly. Danger is part of every mission. We handle it together. Elias led a small team into the asteroid. The corridors inside were smooth but unstable, vibrating as if the structure were alive. Sensors indicated traps, energy fields, and alien guardians of unknown origin. The crew relied on a mix of human creativity and Kale's scouting experience to bypass hazards. At the artifact chamber, they encountered the final obstacle, a massive crystalline guardian that moved like liquid metal. Its eyes glowed with intelligence, and its voice, mechanical but alive, spoke in a forgotten language. Elias held up a hand. Mara, can we disable it without destroying it? She nodded quickly. We can synchronize our energy pulses with its rhythm. It should calm it without harm. Working together, humans and Virelians coordinated their actions. Energy pulses resonated in harmony, and the Guardian slowed, eventually retreating into the shadows. The artifact, a glowing cube of unknown origin, hovered in the center of the chamber. Elias carefully secured it. As they returned to the ship, Kyle regarded Elias with a mixture of awe and respect. Your species, your people, you truly are different. Courage, patience, and ingenuity all in one. This will be remembered. Elias smiled. That's all we ever try to be. Humans survive and we care for others along the way. That's our legacy. On the way back, the crew encountered more obstacles. Magnetic storms, floating debris, and remnants of long-dead alien ships. But human adaptability and teamwork allowed them to overcome each challenge. Finally, the Starfire emerged from the outer reaches, the artifact safe. Elias contacted Queen Valera via secure transmission. Your mission succeeded, she said, her voice calm but filled with approval. You have demonstrated human qualities that cannot be ignored. Courage, intelligence, and loyalty. You have proven that humans may indeed be allies, not merely outsiders. Elias nodded. Thank you, Your Majesty. We acted as humans always do, together with courage and ingenuity. Valera's eyes softened. And that is why you will remain in my observation. The Council will see your actions and perhaps for the first time, understand the potential of humanity. As the crew celebrated quietly, Elias looked out at the alien capital in the distance. This mission had been a test, but it was only the beginning. Humans had survived, adapted, and thrived in the outer reaches. They had shown their worth not through force alone, but through intellect, courage, and teamwork. And in doing so, they had begun to leave a mark on an empire that had once seen them as strangers. Elias's thoughts drifted to the future. This mission had proven humans' value, but more challenges lay ahead. Political intrigue, hidden enemies, and the unpredictable nature of interstellar relations meant that their journey had only just begun. Yet one thing was certain. Humans were more than survivors. They were a force of ingenuity and courage, a legacy that no alien empire could ignore. Elias smiled, knowing that his actions, and those of his crew, were only the first step in a story that would ripple across the stars. Captain Elias Kane stared at the glowing artifact secured in the storage bay of the Starfire. Its pulsing light was mesmerizing, yet he felt an unease he could not ignore. Sensors indicated energy readings far beyond any known technology. Something about the artifact whispered of danger, though Elias could not yet name it. Kyle, the Virelian scout, approached. Captain, I sense this artifact is not what it appears. It holds more than simple power. Its origin is ancient. Precursor civilization. older than the Virelians themselves. Dangerous beyond measure. Elias nodded slowly. Then we need to understand it before it falls into the wrong hands. The Queen trusted us with it and we won't fail. Mara Chen examined the artifact carefully. The energy is volatile, but it's not inherently hostile. I think we can study it safely if we're careful, but one wrong move and it could destroy the ship. As they worked, alarms suddenly blared. External sensors detected a massive vessel approaching at high speed, unregistered in any Virelian database. Its design was angular, almost predatory. The crew tensed. It was clear that someone, or something, knew about the artifact. Unknown. Ship on intercept course, Kale reported. They must want the artifact. Elias took a deep breath. Prepare defenses, but do not engage unless necessary. This is a test of both skill and strategy. We need to protect the artifact without destroying it if possible. The vessel opened fire, energy beams slicing through space. The Starfire dodged with precise maneuvers, shields glowing under impact. Elias coordinated with the crew, relying on human adaptability and quick decision-making. The alien attackers underestimated humans' capacity to improvise. Mara shouted from the console, "Captain, their weaponry is synchronized with their ship's movement. If we can anticipate their pattern, we can outmaneuver them." Elias nodded, analyzing the enemy's trajectory. Kale, mark their weak points. Mara, reroute energy to the shields and pulses. Follow my lead. With perfect coordination, they dodged, redirected shields, and sent counter signals that confused the enemy. Targeting systems. The attackers had expected an easy victory, but the humans and their few Virelian allies turned the tide with clever improvisation. Finally, the unknown vessel retreated, leaving the Starfire intact. Elias exhaled, but the sense of danger remained. Whoever sent that ship knew about the artifact, and now they would return, stronger, faster, more prepared. Kyle stepped closer. Captain, the artifact's origin is key. Precursor civilizations often left weapons capable of planetary destruction. If someone misuses this, entire worlds could be at risk. Elias understood immediately. The Queen's test had been more than a mission of skill. It had placed him at the center of a potential galactic catastrophe. The responsibility weighed heavily, but humans had a way of rising to the occasion. Then we must secure it, Elias said firmly. And we must understand it before anyone else can claim it. Mara worked on translating the energy patterns while Kale helped identify structural weaknesses that could be exploited if someone tried to steal the artifact. Hours passed, yet progress was slow. The artifact seemed almost alive, reacting subtly to their presence. Captain Elias Kane's eyes scanned the horizon as the Starfire approached the Virelian capital. Tension gripped him and his crew. The artifact was secure aboard the ship, but danger was no longer only in distant space. It had reached the very heart of the Empire. Counselor Drelleth, furious at the Queen's praise of humans and the artifact's retrieval, had made his move. Word arrived that armed factions within the capital were rallying, intending to seize power by taking the artifact for themselves. "Captain," Kyle said, his tone low but urgent, "they aim to strike here. The palace, the council chambers, everything. If they succeed, the artifact will fall into the wrong hands, and the Queen, our allies, everything we worked for will be lost." Elias clenched his fists. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and they had survived. "We protect the Queen. We protect the artifact."
No one, alien or otherwise, gets it while we're alive. Prepare the crew. We defend at all costs. As they docked, the streets of the capital were alive with movement. Loyal Virelian guards, alerted by Queen Valera's secret signal, were forming defensive lines.
Yet the rebellion was well organized, heavily armed, and intent on seizing control. Elias and his team disembarked quickly. Mara and Kyle flanked him, ready for action. Together, humans and Virelians moved with purpose, taking strategic positions to protect the palace and its defenders. The first wave of attackers came suddenly, striking from hidden alleys and rooftops. Energy weapons blazed through the air, sending sparks and debris flying. Elias led with calm precision, issuing orders while engaging in combat himself. Humans and loyal Varelians worked seamlessly, using cover, agility, and strategic thinking to outmaneuver the rebels. "Captain, they're targeting the main gate," Kale shouted. Elias ran forward, analyzing the attackers' formation. "Mara, deploy the energy barriers at the gate. I'll coordinate a counterattack. We hold this line." Mara activated the barriers, shimmering walls of energy blocking the rebels' advance. Elias moved with calculated efficiency, directing loyal troops, setting traps, and using alien technology in ways even Kale had not anticipated. Every human decision was precise, unexpected, and effective. Amid the chaos, Counselor Drellith appeared, leading a squad of elite fighters. His eyes burned with fury. "Captain Kane," he called, "this is your final moment. Humans do not belong." "Here." Elias stepped forward, facing Drellith without fear. "Humans belong wherever courage and honor are needed. You underestimate us, and that is your mistake." The two clashed in a tense duel. Drellith's strength and skill were formidable, but Elias relied on agility, strategy, and observation. He anticipated each move, countering with clever precision, rather than brute force. In a final decisive maneuver, Elias disarmed Drellith, forcing him to retreat with his forces. Kale and Mara fought alongside him, keeping the rebellion at bay. Every human action, every quick decision, every creative maneuver turned the tide. The loyal Varelians, inspired by humans' courage, rallied and pushed the rebels back. Finally, the streets fell silent, the last of the attackers retreating into the shadows. The artifact remained secure. The Queen's palace stood intact. Humans had not only survived, they had led the defense and inspired trust among the alien defenders. Queen Valera emerged from the palace, her presence commanding as always. Her eyes met Elias's, and for the first time the weight of her approval felt tangible. "Captain Kane," she said, her voice firm yet filled with respect, "you have proven that humans are not only brave but wise and capable. Today you saved my empire and my people. Your actions will be remembered for generations." Elias bowed slightly. "Your Majesty, it was not just me. Humans and Varelians together made this possible. We acted with courage and teamwork, as any people should. That is the true strength of humanity." Mara smiled, wiping sweat from her brow. "And let's not forget a little luck and ingenuity." Kyle, still impressed, added quietly, "Your species, you have a spark that others lack. Today, you have changed more than just the capital. You have changed the way my people see humans." Queen nodded. "Indeed, the Council will now see what I have always known. Humans are not outsiders to be feared, they are allies, capable of shaping the future of this empire and beyond. Captain Kane, your name will be spoken with respect for all time." As the crew regrouped, Elias reflected on the battle. Humans had faced impossible odds before, on distant planets in unknown space, but this was different. This was politics, strategy, and courage intertwined. Their survival and victory had not come from brute force alone, but from intelligence, cooperation, and daring action. A message arrived from the outer sectors. Other civilizations observing the events in the Varelian capital were taking note. Humans were no longer unknown. They were a force to be reckoned with, a species capable of changing the course of empires through courage, ingenuity, and morality. Elias knew their journey was far from over. The artifact, the Queen, and the Varelian Empire itself were now tied to humanity's legacy. The events of this day would echo across the galaxy, and humans would need to continue proving their worth. Yet despite the danger and uncertainty, Elias felt a quiet pride. Humans had survived, adapted, and triumphed once again. They had defended not just themselves but allies who had once been strangers. Their actions had forged bonds that no empire could ignore. Queen Valera approached Elias once more, her eyes softening with gratitude. Captain Kane, you have shown that humanity's legacy is not only survival, it is courage, loyalty, and hope. The galaxy will soon see what I have seen today. Humans are not to be underestimated. Elias bowed. Thank you, Your Majesty. We do not seek recognition. We seek to act rightly, to protect, and to endure. That is the human way. As the sun set over the alien capital, casting long shadows across the towers of crystal and metal, Elias knew one thing for certain. Humans had left an indelible mark. They had proven their courage, their ingenuity, and their heart. And the galaxy was watching, ready to remember the legacy of humanity for generations to come. The streets of the Varelian capital were calm again. The rebellion had been quelled, the artifact secured, and the Queen's authority restored. Yet for Captain Elias Kane, there was no time to rest. Humanity's place in the galaxy had begun to change, and he knew that every decision from now on would carry weight far beyond himself. Elias walked alongside Queen Valera through the palace gardens. Towering crystalline trees glimmered in the light of twin suns, their branches casting prismatic shadows on the ground. The air smelled of alien flowers, sweet and metallic, a scent that seemed both strange and comforting. You have done more than I could have imagined, Captain Kane, Valera said quietly. Your actions have not only saved my empire but also altered the perception of humans across the stars. Your courage, ingenuity, and loyalty, they will not be forgotten. Elias shook his head modestly. I did what any human would do, Your Majesty. We act not for recognition but because it is the right thing. Humans survive because we care for each other and for others who cannot survive alone. Valera smiled faintly. And that, Captain, is why your species will be remembered. You have proven that humans are more than strangers in the galaxy. They are allies, leaders, and friends. Your legacy begins here, in the hearts of my people. Kyle approached, bowing respectfully. Captain, your people have earned my trust. The Varelian Empire may have been cautious of humans before, but now they see what I see. You have changed the course of history. Mara Chen, walking beside Elias, added, It's remarkable, not just the mission or the defense, but how humans and Varelians can work together. It's proof that courage and cooperation cross all boundaries. Elias nodded. Then let this be a beginning, not an end. We have shown that humans are worthy of trust, but we must continue to act with honor, to prove that this trust is justified. In the weeks that followed, the Varelian Council formally recognized humans as trusted allies. Diplomatic channels opened between Earth and the Varelian Empire, and the artifact was secured under joint protection. Humans were no longer unknown outsiders. They were partners in the governance, defense, and exploration of the galaxy. One evening, Elias was summoned to the throne room. Queen Valera sat on her elevated dais, her silver eyes reflecting the soft light of the twin suns. Captain Kane, she said, it is time to honor you formally. Your actions have earned not only my respect, but the respect of my people. Humanity's legacy will be remembered alongside the history of the Varelian Empire. Elias bowed respectfully. I am honored, Your Majesty, but it was not just me. Every human who acts with courage, loyalty, and intelligence contributes to this legacy. That is what makes humanity strong. Valera nodded. And that is why the Council has agreed to name a new outpost after your people, a place of cooperation, learning, and exploration. Humans and Varelians will work together there, ensuring that future generations understand the bond forged in courage and trust. Elias felt a swell of pride. To see humans recognized not just for their power but for their values was more than he could have imagined when he first set foot in this alien capital. Kale approached, still watching him with a mixture of respect and awe. Captain, I did not expect humans to adapt so quickly, to act with such ingenuity in both combat and diplomacy. You have proven that your species is more than capable,